Welcome to Phil's Cooking Academy. Now today we're making tasty treat biscuits. Now this is a very simple recipe that all the family can help with, and it is very, very easy, trust me. The ingredients are 140 grams of butter, 140 grams of sugar, 280 grams of flour, zest of 1 lemon, 55 grams of raisins and 1 medium egg. It's as simple as that. First of all, you need to rub the butter into the flour. And this is what we call rubbing in. And basically what you're doing is putting the fat into the flour to make a very, very light dough. Now the butter has to be nice and cold. When it's cold, it rubs in much easier to the flour. So what you need to do is pick up the butter, give it a couple of squeezes and let it drop back into the flour. So what you mustn't do is overwork the mixture. By that I mean you rub the fat in too quickly. The heat of the hand will warm up the butter and it will melt. So you just keep it nice and gentle. Now you can do this in a machine, in a food processor, but I think it's quite good fun to do it this way. It takes about 5 minutes, but just take your time and don't rush. So what you'll end up with is fine breadcrumbs. Look at that, almost like ground almonds. That's what you're after. Okay, just get all the mixture off your hands, and then the next bit is very easy. You get your sugar and you just pour in the sugar and just gently spoon that through with a wooden spoon or a metal spoon or a spatula. Okay, then we're going to add the raisins into there. Again, just work those through. And the zest, finely grated zest of 1 lemon. Now you can get an adult to do this for you if you want, if you're worried about your fingers. But if you do it by yourself, just make sure that you keep your fingers away from the sharp part there. And just take small steps and get the zest. What you don't want to do is get the white. The white is the pith, which is very, very bitter. So just get the zest. Take your time and make sure you get all that off. Just double check we've got most of it off. And then just rub that out of there. Again, mix that up. And the only liquid in here is the egg. Now, you wouldn't think that would work, but it does. You then break the egg straight into the mixture. And just work the egg into the flour. Now at this point you think, do you know what, this isn't going to work. But as you work and work and work, keep going round and round, the whole thing will start to come together. And if you really want to get very mucky, you can use your hand in there as well, which I'm going to do right now. So just by pinching method, just pinch the mixture together and turn the bowl at the same time, and the whole thing, as you can see, starts to come together perfectly. It's great fun if you want to get really mucky, but there we are. As you can see, look at that, within a couple of minutes the whole thing is virtually ready. And then with the heel of your hand, which is that part there, just press the whole thing together, turn it over, and that is the mixture. Look at that. Look at that. So just bring the whole thing together, and any little bits that have fallen off you can just press back in to the dough and just give that a couple of seconds kneading into a nice ball of dough like that. Over here, a little bit of flour. This is to stop the mixture sticking to the bench or table. And then with a rolling pin, just carefully roll the biscuit mixture out to about a centimetre thick, or just under a centimetre. So the gold roll rolling out, give it 1 or 2 rolls, come back, make sure the mixture hasn't stuck. 1, 2, come back. Again, make sure the mixture hasn't stuck. And then 1, 2, come back. And we're virtually there. Look at that. It's a beautiful colour. And then using a pastry cutter, start at the top, press the biscuits out and lay them onto a lightly buttered sheet or oiled sheet. Now when you're cutting out, a good little tip here, make sure your hand doesn't completely cover the cutter because it causes a vacuum and you won't cut through perfectly. So make sure there's a little bit of a space there. Punch it down and twist it very slightly at the same time and you'll get a perfect cut like that. Now if you don't have one of these cutters, you can quite happily cut it by hand and cut them into squares, it's really up to you. But today I'm going to be using a cutter, just like that. You'll probably get between 12 and 16 biscuits, depending on the size of your cutter. Now on the baking sheet, we offset them slightly like that because they will rise slightly because of the egg. So we get 2 more on there. Like that. I'm making 1 tray today, but you can actually make 2 or 3 trays depending on the size of the biscuits. Also, this dough will freeze quite well. Wrap it clean and pop it in the freezer. Into a preheated oven, 190 degrees centigrade, gas 5, for about 15 minutes. But keep an eye on them because they will burn quite quickly if you don't keep an eye on them. Now they've been cooking between 12 and 15 minutes. And as you'll see, beautifully browned. I'm going to pop these onto a cooling rack to cool. Now what you need to do is to get a parent to give you a hand here because it's a very, very hot tray. And then carefully lift them off the hot tray onto a cooling rack to leave to cool. Okay, just like that. They smell delicious and they're really tasty. And all you need to do is chuck them on the plate once they're cool and enjoy them because they're delicious.